Start streaming. All right, we're going to try to fix a MacBook, which we almost never see. This one is here super rush. So I came in tonight after a long day with kids to try to help this dude out. So this guy has a MacBook Air. It's the Air 1466. And he was trying to do his DIY screen replacement, and he has no backlight after screen replacement. So let's take a look under the microscope, and I'm hoping that this is pretty straightforward. Let's see what it looks like. So if we kind of hunt around here on this board, I see some hair. So I'm looking around just for signs of water damage. I don't see any water damage, and I don't expect to because that's not the history. So let's go on a hunt for damage near the connector for the screen. All right, and that is a pretty obvious insult right there. All right, so this looks like a straight up blown filter. So let's try to understand this a little bit and see what the deal is. So we've got his connector in here like this, and I think it's pretty easy to see that this connector, if you're doing a screen, it can be hard to know whether or not the connector should go in, which way. In fact, let's take the tape off. So he's got it in like this. So it will fit in like that. I've got the battery disconnected, of course, just for testing and messing around. So we can plug it in like that, or we can flip this around and plug it in like this. And it'll fit in there both ways. So how do you know which way you're supposed to plug it in? Let's learn a little bit about this particular spot so that we can figure that out. So let's go on a hunt to figure out what is going on at that area. What is that component and what is the deal? All right, so we're gonna go, you are working on a MacBook. Yes, I am working on a MacBook. All right, so we are going to go on a hunt, and since I don't work on MacBooks very often, for me, that means I still use the old Landrix board view. So I opened that up since I wasn't sure I would know where it was. So this board is an 820-3209 board. So we are gonna head over to the old school Landrix. Let's take a look. Screen, here we are. So this is the 820-3209 board. And we can hunt around. This looks like this is the connector, the screen connector. And here's all the dudes by the screen. And if we zoom in a little bit, let's zoom in. Here is this nearby chip. So let's switch back to our microscope board so that we can kind of get oriented. So we're upside down from how it is up in the Landrix board view software. So here's the connector, and then here is this chip. And the chip has a little set of 3 dudes, and the guy that's really burned is this one here in the middle. And it sits above a row of 4 in a row guys. So let's see if we can find that guy exactly. So let's make that a little bit more clear. It's a little bit different from my focus. All right, so let's go back to the screen and let's find it. So here is the chip, and then here are the 3 guys here. And then here is the, if we drilled in even more, we could see the row of 4 components here. All right, so our guy is the one that is immediately below the chip. So this dude here. All right, this dude. So this guy's name, let's it's hard for me to read with the light is dim. I'm looking at this on a display. So this guy's name is it looks like L9004. So let's see, what the heck is L9004? So we will go over and open up the schematic. So here's the schematic, and we're gonna look for search. So let's move you guys down. L9004. Let's find it. Where are you, buddy? All right, so here, this is a filter. All right, so it's in a class of inductors. This is not a coil. That's one of the ways that folks like to troll. Filters act like fuses. Coils are on the board in order to, because of their amazing superpower of inductance. Let's take a look at this filter then and see what line it's on. So the line is called PP3V3 SW-LCD. And if we follow it, it goes from the connector. So this is a power line that should have 3.3 volts on it, presumably for image. That's what that sounds like. So it doesn't sound like backlight, it sounds like image. So he may also have a problem with backlight, I'm not sure. So let's see. If we look at the connector itself, let's just kind of get an idea of what's going on in general. So we can see PPV out LCD backlight, which is here on pins 3 and 4. And we can find a little cap that's on that line. We can see a bunch of LED returns. And then we can see these data lines that are plugging into the connector. And so this will say kind of from 12 and north is dudes that have to do with making a backlight. Then we have from 12 south is dudes that have to do with making the actual display, the image. So there's a lot of stuff on here that I would consider data lines, and then we've got this power. So let's call this image power. And if we look around, is there anything else on here that looks like it would be image power? And it doesn't look like it. So this line is going to be required for image power. This is a filter, so we need to have continuity across the filter in order to deliver the 3.3 volts to the connector. So where does this line come from? Let's follow it back a little bit so that we can kind of know the area. All right, and that leads us back to this chip. And this chip U9000 is the same chip that on our board, let's go over to the microscope, it's the same chip here. That looks kind of beat up, but a lot of that is probably just, you know how you can get lamp black if you hold something over a candle flame. So this just had an explosion here at the filter that threw black all around that area, but it's probable that those other components are likely okay. All right, so let's go back and see, what does U9000 do? So U9000, let's look and see. All right, this says PP3V3S3 LCD, so this is going to be a power into the chip. So it goes and plugs into pin 2 and 3 as voltage in 1 and 2, and then we get voltage out, the same 3V3 that goes out to the connector. So I see on, and I see an input, LCD IG power enable. So this is likely the signal that says, hey, go ahead and produce this 3.3 LCD power for image. Otherwise, if this is absent, then don't bother to do that, because we don't need to be putting out voltages if there's not a screen connected or if there's no reason to display an image right now. So that's about the sum of what this chip is doing. So this chip itself could fail, or we could get a short to ground on the output line, or a short to ground on the input line, or we could have a failure to produce the LCD power enable line, which is the signal, or potentially a failure to produce the incoming voltage in. So that would really be the sort of the sum of failures that we could get. So what's likely here? what's likely is that this filter has blown up because it looks blown up. And so now let's ask the question of how could that happen? What is it that makes a filter blow up? So if we look at the filter kind of info, it says it's a ferrite bead filter, 120 ohm filter, and then it has this number, 1.5 amps. This is the rating for, how much current can this filter take before it turns into an explosion like what we see on this board. So if you give it over 1.5 amps of current, it is going to blow up like a bomb on a drawbridge. So kapow, and then you're going to break that line. So they act like fuses when this current is exceeded. So let's think about what kind of a situation would make you exceed that current? And that is generally going to be an inappropriate short to ground. So an inappropriate short to ground. So if we think about, just taking two wires. So if I took the red and black of my DC power supply and I put 3.3 volts and I were to connect them together, just make a wire, take the 3.3 volts and short it to ground like that, then that would generate a large amount of current because there's no resistance in this little circuit that I made. So if you do something that's, kind of like if you take a wire to ground and you touch the live 3.3 volts, then that is how you get in the situation of providing a sort of sudden path to ground, which will cause a big current spike. And if the current spike exceeds the rating of the filter, then the filter is going to blow up like a drawbridge. So how did this guy, in the act of, hey, let me plug in my screen that I just, I bought a screen and I've plugged, I've taken it apart and following a guide, how did he get in the situation of providing this sort of sudden inappropriate path to ground? And the guess would be, well, is that something that could happen from what looks like a connector that seems unclear which way does it connect to the board? So if he just kind of took a guess, well, I think it goes with there's a dot on one side, I think it goes with the dot up, then could that cause this sort of sudden short to ground? So let's look back at this connector. So the connector has a dot here on one side, and it can easily be flipped around and plugged in this way with a dot down on the other side. Now, what if you don't remember? I mean, I see this dot here. Does that mean when I see this looks like a, I don't know if it's a water indicator or if it's a dot there to help you with this connector? I don't have any idea. But if I see this dot, does that mean the dot should go up? Or does that mean I should put the dot like on that so that the dot should go down? I don't have any idea. All right, so let's see if we could figure that out. So what I'm going to do is first test to see whether or not there is a short to ground on this line right now. So we should not expect to see a short to ground. Now, if I worked on MacBooks a lot, or if we have to kind of really drill down on this problem, then you could compare to a known good board, what is the resistance on that line, and you could do that using diode mode to get a quick and dirty estimate of the overall relative resistance on that line. Or you could use straight up ohms mode and measure the resistance of that line to ground, and you could compare between a known good board and a bad board. From what we can do right now is to just say, let's see how close it is to zero and see whether or not this line is short to ground because it's close to zero or not. So we're going to use the Jessa's trust-based multimeter. So here's my multimeter that you cannot see on my screen. And I am going to put it in diode mode, since that's generally how I take these sort of relative resistance readings. And let's take a look at that line. All right, so we'll go back under the microscope, and we will put the red probe on ground, And now I can see, I can just read the board here. Let's move this down a little bit for you guys. I can read the board and I can see that this charge spot here has a trace that goes from here. This dude is on it. This dude is on it. And then I can see this fat trace going and connecting to these two pins. And that matches exactly what the schematic says. So I can test out here at the connector and say, does this line have a short to ground? And the answer is no. The diode mode reading is 0.690, which is technically a measuring a voltage drop, but we'll just call that a relative resistance, although it's not measuring that in ohms. And now let's test on the other side. Do we have a short to ground on the other side of this? And the answer is no. We have a 0.582 diode mode reading on this side. So that tells us that right now there's not a short to ground on that line. Let's see what happens, just for fun, if we were to connect this connector. Let's just pick away randomly. Let's just pick, let's say, hey, let's go with dot side down. All right, so that snugs in there. So now that's connected. And now let's go back and see if that changes our resistance reading. So I'm going to put same red probe on ground, and I'm going to go to the same spot. And I have 0.464. So I still have a reasonable amount of resistance on that line. Now let's flip this connector around and say, all right, let's do it dot side up. Dot side up. Let's see if we can snug it in there that way. Come on. You know you can go in there. I've seen you do it before. Get in there. You'll fit in there. I know you will. There you go, buddy. Now get in there right. There you go. So now I've plugged it in the other way, which it really does fit in there. Like I'm able to, plug this in and I could snap that down just fine. So if I wanted to, I could plug it in this way. All right, so let's hold that in there for a second and let's take the same reading. So now I'm going to go do the exact same thing again, and I'm going to put red probe on ground, and I'm going to measure that line. Ooh, I hear a beep. And if I look over at my multimeter, the trust-based multimeter says diode mode reading is 0.001. So what does that mean? What does that mean? 001 diode mode reading is essentially no resistance to ground on that line, i.e. a short to ground. So by now I've kind of proven that if you plug in the connector one way on a line that's supposed to be a power line with 3.3 volts in it, I have no resistance to ground. I've created a short to ground. And that's the same thing as if I were to take the 3 volt line and touch it to ground. I would get a huge current spike. And so now we can kind of guess that that's probably what happened. And the reason that I chose to stream about this rather than just come in here and start to see what happens if I just change this filter and plug this connector in correctly is I wanted to kind of show you this example of if you don't know, how is this connector supposed to connect, and you can't figure it out from another board, or you can't figure it out from asking around or looking up a guide, or you don't trust the guide that you're using, because a lot of times internet please bro guides are wrong. You can do a test like this. If you have a power line, it really should not have extremely low resistance to ground unless it happens to be a CPU or a GPU power line that's a little bit different than the garden variety. All right, so that is the nutshell of the problem. This guy undoubtedly connected the connector in upside down. So we're going to correct that and put his connector in right side up. But first we have to go replace that filter. So let's see what you guys have to say here in the comments, and then we'll get to work. Let's see. Oh, Lewis is awake, and he says, "Jump it." I'm a professional. I'm not saying just. I'm not gonna just jump it. This is funny because this I didn't really want to take this repair at all. Because today, you know, like school's out, so it's kind of, you know, this is one of the first days to be a mom and do fun stuff. So we were down at the lake all day, and I really didn't want to come in and do this job. So this guy had called yesterday, and he was, you know, he was super desperate, and he really wanted to know, could we do this repair today? And I'm like, I don't really have a shit ton of MacBook parts. Hey, Lewis, what's going to be wrong? And Lewis is like, the guy will have plugged the thing in upside down, so just jump the fuse. And I'm like, no, I want you to just overnight me like every possible MacBook Air backlight component and cable that I could possibly need, because I don't want to come in and then not be able to do this job. All right, so let's see what else you guys have to say here, and then we will get busy. All right, what excellent service. Is this board from you, Martin? I don't know. Let's see. You're working on a MacBook. Yes, I am. The 2 holes and the 2 little dots on the sides. Well, if you don't speak holes and dots, how are you supposed to know? That's the thing. The LCD cable is in upside down. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. What? Car question? Seriously? All right. That's stealing from Lewis. No, it's not. Lewis doesn't live in Rochester, New York. All right. Plug LCD cable in proper way. Jump filter, give it back. All right. Except for the jump filter part. All right. It's going to die if I try to find a filter. No, I'm not going to do that. Here's the other thing for you, Lewis. Guess what I'm going to do? I am going to fix this board without taking it out. Look, I'm not going to even take the board out. I'm not going to even take out the drive. I'm not going to take out anything, because I am going to use this magical tool that I highly recommend, mini hot tweezers instead of hot air, so that I don't have to take the board out. I think you should do it. All right. What does F9700 check out? Hi, Lewis. Are you going to help her repair this board? Yeah, he's telling me jump the fuse and plug it in, and it's going to be fine. All right. I'm actually kind of surprised that this guy wouldn't have like done that, but we'll see. Might have to replace U9000. Hope not. Hope not. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's get to the end so that we can do this. iPad rehab might have to replace a bunch of other shit. Oh, wait. No, that's the same dude. Did you test the fuse F9700? No, I didn't test anything. I just started. All right. Okay. All right. So let's start with getting the old. Fuck no, I'm not gonna wick. That's retarded. There's absolutely no reason to do that. All right, let's get busy. Let's get this done. Let's get this done so that I can go home and sleep, which sounds pretty awesome right now. Sounds pretty awesome. All right, here we go. Let's see if mini hot tweezers can get this sucker off, because now it is really, really burnt and really beat up. Mini hot tweezers are not as good on MacBooks as they are on phones, for sure. But I have faith. I have faith in the good old FM2023, the mini hot tweezers, and their ability to do whatever. All right, come on, babies. Well, that is going to take some heat. Are they even on? Yes. All right, let's get a little thermal linkage up in here. Let's get some solder on these tips so that we can increase the thermal linkage and the ability of these tips to transfer heat. All right, get down there. Come on. Wow, look at that. It's got a hole in it. Damn. Big old nugget just came out. I want this to just come off nicely. You know what? That's a little, like, fluxy. Watch this. You hear the beautiful sound? You know what that is? It's a train coming by. Or is it? Alright. Let's heat this sucker up. There we go. There we go. Okay. Look at that. No hot air required. Alright, let's see what we have here for pads. Let's get really close because it's late and I can't see. So Lewis, how often do people do this? How often do people plug that thing in wrong? I mean, it seems, I can see how that guy would think it would go, you know, it could kind of go either way. All right, let's clean this area up with alcohol so that we can see if anything else is actually burned versus just having like the lamp black stuff on it. All right. Okay. Let's see. So Lewis, I saw you did a review video today. I didn't like watch it or anything. I mean, don't get me wrong, but saw that you did one that looked like it was an edited video. Is that true? Have you gone to the dark side? Have you? Don't say it's not so. All right. So, as expected, these guys clean up. So there's not actual damage there. Uh-oh, the DC power supply is kicking on over there, powering my camera with the little thingy you sent me, working awesome. At least I think it is. Let's see if it still is. Is that camera still on? Yay! It is working awesome. Hooray! All right. Okay, and now for the next feat, should we jump a filter? Or should we replace a filter? What do you think? Let's take a look at these traces and see if they're actually going where they're supposed to. I think they're okay. We could bother to look up and see, but that seems okay. This is going to be the one that you can read the board. This is the one that's going out to the connector, and this one is the one that's going to be connecting to some pin on this chip. We can just see if we get a beep to the chip so that we know that that trace isn't actually torn up. All right, seems good. So if that chip's good, then we'll be all right. So let's see, jump or replace. Let's clear that bridge while you guys tell me whether I should jump or replace. And why? Jump or replace? What do you think? All right, let's clear this up. There, got rid of our little bridge. Hot tweezers are giving me cancer. What are you talking about? I think you should review the mini hot tweezers since you're into reviews. And then you're going to love them. I mean, it's great for filters. I mean, for a big cap, I get it. You know, that's kind of a pain in the ass. All right. Let's see what you guys said. Who said this would have been done if she used hot air? Fuck that. You'd have to take the board out, noob. You can't taking all those screws out? Fuck that. All right. 25-pound bench press. What? All right, I think I'm behind. What? I would wick everything and throw out all the hot tweezers. That's ridiculous. Only retards plug that in upside down, and you met one of them. Well, this guy is in a big old hurry. All right. I walked into a bar tonight called All Right. And to my incredible surprise and disgust, I found nothing besides blue hair and resist stickers. Did you walk right back out or did you get in a fight? That's what I'm worried about. All right. Jump it. Fuck that. How much liquor does it take to become a social democrat? Ha 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 ha. That's what I want to hear about. All right. At what point will I see blue hair as attractive? Never. All right. What? $21 for a single shot of alcohol? What kind of alcohol is that? That's ridiculous. Why? I can't imagine that you stayed there for more than 9 seconds. That's silly. You should replace the filter to make it idiot-proof again. Yes, because this guy, it's his MacBook, so the reason to replace the filter is if you think this device within its usable lifetime is likely to experience the same insult again. So if you know exactly what happened, this guy connected the connector upside down, which we just talked about, created a sudden inappropriate path to ground, which causes a big current spike, and that current spike exceeds the ability of the filter to withstand it, so the filter blows up like a drawbridge, which really then protects the rest of the circuit. So it will protect U9000 and it will protect anybody upstream from there. So if you don't have the filter to do that, if it's just a wire, then when this guy does the exact same thing again, or if he sells it to somebody who then does the exact same thing again, what's the likelihood that this will happen again? I think it's reasonable. So for that reason, I'm going to try to replace it. All right, so this seems like it's a pretty common thing. So let's find it. So what I do have here is a standard 820-3115 board. So we're going to go on a hunt. So let's go find this sucker. All right, so this guy that we're looking for, we're just going to do a cross match. So we're going to copy that information from our 3209 board, and then we're going to look over here and find it. All right, so we can take either one of these guys or maybe a bunch of other ones. I don't know. So we can find L3505 or L3506 on this board. So we'll copy that. And now we have to open up the board view for that, which I think I have. All right, so let me go on a hunt to find that, to make sure that I have that. I think so. Open file, schematics. Man, it is hard to see. I cannot fucking see. Maybe these contacts are just ancient. Board view. All right. How do you do this again? C for components. All right, let's bring you guys over here. C for component. And then this guy, where are you? He is over here on the edge. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can find him. All right, so let's match this sucker up. It looks like this. Let's flip this board real quick. Bottom, top. Okay, so it looks like it would be over here somewhere. I always find it incredibly painful to watch Lewis do iPhone stuff. So I'm glad that he has to watch me do MacBook stuff where you just sit on your hands screaming exactly where the thing is while you watch the person struggle to find something. That's pretty funny. All right, let's see. Where am I? All right, so it is at this end of the board. And let's drill down. So there's kind of 3 dudes in a row that are connectors, I guess, since that's what this looks like. Watch it be no stuff on this board. That would be funny. All right, so these 3 connectors, and there's a little crop of a couple of dudes. So that's L3505. Let's see if I can locate it. All right, so there's 3 there. Here's these connectors, 1, 2, 3, and there he is right there. At least I think so. Let's just make sure. He looks like a filter to me, and we'll just test across it. All right, he's a filter. Should we grab him with the mini hot tweezers? I vote yes. I vote yes. We should grab it with the mini hot tweezers right this second, because that is easy to do. So let's do it. Uh-oh, team viewer, that sounds bad. What is happening? How is my stuff getting fucked up now? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, he's taking me to open board view. It's too painful. All right. Well, I have successfully retrieved my new filter. I'm going to try to be done before he gets that installed. Are you drunk installing software on my computer, Lewis? I'm not sure that's a good idea. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Oh, look, that looks a lot better. All right, show me how easy this would be. Is this still on screen share? Oh, it opens the same files? It opens the same exact files? Sweet. Yeah, see, it's all the stuff that you made me when you gave me this computer to learn how to use it. Remember those videos? Those were a hoot. Lewis made this computer, and he labeled the shit out of everything so I couldn't fuck it up. Camera, here, plug in. Other camera, microscope, plug in. And then he made videos so that I would be able to actually plug the camera into the thing he labeled camera without fucking it up. Which I did, by the way. Unlike some people, for example, Lewis's dad. But that's because I'm not yet 60. All right, that looks cool. WordPad. Uh-oh. Paint. This, what? Sorry about what? You're not going to make an overlay that says that, that's just silliness. All right, I'm continuing on. All right, because I can see the screen. You're remarkably good at OBS manipulation and software installation, despite what is undoubtedly a lot of drinking. What the heck? Oh. I betrayed you. How am I supposed to know about this stuff? I don't watch how to do MacBook repair. I don't fix MacBooks. All right, we're gonna put this filter on here because this is taking too long. All right, here goes the filter on with the mini hot tweezers. Isn't it so cute? All right. All right, so I just stuck that on there with the good old mini hot tweezers. No more Pepes. I deleted like half of those. Is that a Pepe? Yeah, of course it is. All right, let's see. I'm just going to continue on while all this shenanigans is going on. You better hope, Lewis, you better hope that you are not on screen, because your phone number is on the screen, which is totally a bad idea. All right. All right, so we have continuity from the pin of U9000 all the way to the connector. So let's plug in. What is this? What is going on? I look in the trash can for Pepes. There's one called Louis Pepe. All right. Okay, so let's see, how do we connect this? Let's connect it. I already forgot. Let's see. Let's take off his little papery thing. I think it goes like that because that looks like how it should go. All right, plug this back in. And now we're going to check to make sure that we don't have a short to ground. All right, let's check. All right. Let's do a diode mode reading and see what we're up to now. Red probe on ground, and let's check that line. All right, 0.461. I don't know if that's normal or not, but it seems reasonably normal. It seems like it could be normal. All right. Let's clean this up. Oh my God, Pepes. This is like in the middle of my stream. You realize that I can't see anything because you're Pepeing my computer, so I can't see anything in OBS. Oh, you found the crying one. Alrighty. Okay, so this is, at least in theory, done. I'm going to switch. Let me go back to camera at least. What? What's going on here? Make me go back to camera. What is all this? Take me back to camera so that it gets off microscope, just for a minute. All right, I think I'm back in charge. What is all this? Cancel that. Cancel that. Camera. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, let's go to the end. Okay, there. Can we have a Pepe on screen? That is not. Fifth pin does not look good. What do you mean fifth pin does not look good? Let's see. Fifth pin does not look good. What are you talking about? Oh, over there? Aren't the pins numbered like from up here? I think it's just the light. Looks fine to me. Let's test. Let's when you code, what is it, open board view, and she uses Slantrix anyway. I don't fix MacBooks. I don't fix MacBooks. All right, let's see what happens. Stick it back on camera so that we can see if this works or not. God bless America. This is a total stream hijack. All right. Stream hijacking. There. All right, I am going to plug the battery back in, since I don't know if these start with no battery, and I doubt there's anything else wrong with this thing. Let's find out. All right. Should I dig up the other MacBook that's here while Lewis can help me fix stuff? Sounds pretty good. But it also sounds pretty good to sleep. This is a pretty cool little charger thing. All right, let's see if there's anything on this screen. Nope. Whoa. All right, so I hear a chime, and the fan, I think, is spinning. Yep. And the keyboard has backlight, but not the screen. So this is where it sucks, because, you know, I don't have a screen, a known good screen to test, and I don't have any idea whether or not the screen itself gets damaged. But now, backlight, remember, is separate. Backlight is separate from image. So let's assume that the problem that we fixed was image, which is not the same as backlight. So now we have to kind of go on a hunt to see what's up with backlight. So I know in some MacBooks there's some sort of handshake that the screen has to make. I don't know that this is the right screen for this device, and I don't really know how to figure that out. What does this mean? Hey Lewis, is this screen gonna work? Why does it say A1469 2012 with some Chinese characters? Does that screen, is the screen that's labeled A1369 2012, will that work with a MacBook Air 1466? That's what I want to know. All right, let's measure, while this is under power, let's see if we can measure, I think it should still be on. Let's see if we can measure some voltages. All right, so let's go back to this connector and see what's up. Let's see. Is LCD IG power enable present on pin 1? Well, I'm going to find out if I have 3.3 volts on the connector, in which case I'll say yes. Stop that. I'm not doing that. I'm checking 3.3 volts here at the connector. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I don't know if you guys can see under the microscope or not. So I am going to check to see whether or not I'm getting 3 volts coming through my filter. All right, so let's go to voltage mode. And the trust-based multimeter says 0 on this side, so maybe that filter is not soldered well. I doubt that, though. And I have 0 volts here as well. All right, so that tells us that this little dude is not putting out the 3v3 volts. So my first question would be, why not? Is he bad? So first, I'm going to check to see whether or not the 3v3 is actually present on his other side. Oh, look at that handy. That is super handy. Did Jessa put the cable in the correct way? Yes, because we tested for short to ground and it wasn't short to ground. All right, so let's see. Let's go back to, let me drive for a minute. Let's go back to the schematic, which is, stop, let me drive for 1 second. All right, so we're gonna follow this. You guys can't see me. Let's go over to, all right. Make that go away. All right. You can come back. I don't want them to see your phone number. So if I want to show screen, that has to, I don't know how to hide that a different way. All right, so let's go here. So we're going to follow this line. So I don't have 3v3 there. So let's follow this. That's an output of this chip. So the first thing I'm going to check is the chip, does the chip have its input? So this chip's input is on pin 2 and 3. All right, so let's guess which icon I don't know. So this one, so 2 and 3, these guys, 2 and 3 are the ones that are at the back side of the chip. So I'm going to check to see, do I have 3v3 going to the chip itself? So let's find out. All right, so that's these guys up here. Do I have the input to the chip? Do I? Yes. So I have 3.3 volts there. All right, so let's look back at the chip. Screen, let's go back here. All right, so now we know that this chip is getting the 3v3 input, but it's not making its output. So that's going to make me ask whether or not it's missing its enable signal. So this thing, LCD IG power enable, I don't know what voltage that should be, but I'm going to guess that it's not 0. So let's find out what is present there. Input is there. Don't even bother. Pin 1. Well, stop bossing me around. All right, so pin 1, we are going to see what voltage is here. Oh, Jesus, that is so fucking loud. What does that mean? What does that say? Somebody donated $1 and I can't read that. If you write, I can't read that because it's like it's like sort of covered with pepes. But thank you for your $1. Let's go check and see what is the voltage on pin 1. So let's remind ourselves where pin 1 is. So we'll use the new Paul Daniels software and find pin 1. So pin 1 is the dude on the end. So we'll go on a hunt and do that. All right, so let's go to the microscope again. And let's see if we get 0 on this enable line. And the answer is it is 0. So that tells us that that line is not being generated. So this thing is not being told to turn on. $1, pin 1. That's pretty funny. It was very loud. I don't know why this is so loud. All right, so now we're gonna go and say, all right, well, so this line is missing. So just like in every case where you have a line that's missing, your choices are, it didn't arrive, so you have a highway problem, it is short to ground, or it was never generated. I'm going to go with unlikely that there is a short to ground or highway problem, and that it's more likely that it's never generated. So in either case, oh, I got to vote for you should use Landrex, not OBV. What? All right, so let's follow this sucker and see where does he come from. Who generates this guy? LCD IG power enable. All right, move those guys over there, and let's paste that and follow it around a little bit. All right, so it looks like he's got another name. His name is also LVDS IG panel power. Copy. All right, let's see if it goes anywhere else under its first name. Nope. All right, so then let's go look for it under its new name. So we're gonna hit paste and keep following it. All right, so it looks like it's generated by the PCH. So the PCH generates this output, and it's going to do that in response to some kind of a reason. So we know that we should probably just for the for the sake of completeness test to make sure that that line is not short to ground. I doubt that, but let's find out. Let's find out. It could be short to ground because of internal damage to the U9000 chips. That is a possibility. Let's find out. All right, so we can go back to the board and we can test for resistance to ground. We're going to do that with our quick and dirty diode mode testing. All right, so we're going to go back to the same enable line and say, are you short to ground? And the diode mode reading is 0.477, which does not sound like short to ground. All right, so then you're working against the clock here. What clock? What are you talking about? That is created by Cougar Point, which I said would die. Oh, that is pretty funny. I have no idea what Cougar Point is. All right, so here's what we know now. We know that we have a line that is not being produced by the PCH because there's no point of failure where it could not make it from the PCH to this U9000 chip, and it's not short to ground, so that really only leaves one possibility, which is that the PCH is not making that line. So why not? And I have absolutely no idea what tells the PCH to produce the LCD enable line. So that I will take this clue created by Cougar Point. I have no idea what that is, but that sounds like something reasonable to look up. Let's see if we can figure that out. All right, so we have to figure out what kind of inputs is the PCH listening to that could be missing or down. Oh, I lost my page. I think I lost my page. In order to decide, it's not hearing something, so that it's not putting that out. All right, so let's see if we can kind of get an idea just in this sort of LVDS section, what is input that it is not hearing. So let's, a whole lot of NCs. CRT. A lot of NCs. All right, so these all seem like outputs. So let's see what else is on here. Display interface, inputs. All right, so these are inputs, which let's see if any of this can make any possible sense to give us any kind of clue. All right, let's keep looking at input endpoints. Output, input. So since I don't work on MacBooks, so I don't know signature faults, then that leaves me with no choice but to kind of consider each thing that could be a possibility, which is, anything that is talking to that chip on a spot that seems like it would be relevant to, hey, something about display. So what I'm going to do is just start at the top and kind of look into these and see where they go until I can frustrate Lewis enough that he will tell me where to look. So let's see. What's U7090? What's that? U7090? I don't know what that is. All right, so let's see. Missed another hour of live stream. Oh, that's okay. PCH is dead by CHOK or broken line. Remove the JTAG. Fuck that. All right, so we don't have a choice. We're gonna just pick this one at the top and see where do these come from. All right, so we'll pick this guy. All right, let's see if we're still on screen. Yes, we are. Okay, so let's start seeing what we can learn about these guys. So we're gonna copy, paste, and see where does this go. So this guy gets a name change. And this is his new name that we can follow along. And he goes nowhere. Move that out of the way. He goes nowhere. That's kind of odd. Maybe the TP just stands for test point. In which case, then it makes sense that he would go nowhere. That's possible. I don't know. There's a lot of TPs. Could stand for test point. Let's pick one that doesn't have TP. Let's pick this guy. Why would I remove JTAG? That doesn't make any sense. That's silly. All right. Why would I copy somebody else's signature move? That's like super please, bro. I'm not into that. All right. Okay, let's see. Where does this guy go? This looks like a data line that's created from something called PP3v3S0DPDDC, whatever that is. All right, so it goes, oh, that's an output. That doesn't help us. We just need inputs. Here's an input. Ones that say IG sound pretty good. Whatever IG stands for is repeated in the name of the other line. All right, let's follow this input. TBT DP ports. All right, let's see if let's copy this name and then just look around to see if he has any other name. If he's anywhere else under his first name. Nope. All right, so let's find this. We are asking the question of why is the PCH not making the enable for the 3v3 LCD line. So this is one of these things where you can kind of, you have to decide how much you care about this problem. So if this is something that, if you really like MacBooks and you intend to fix MacBooks and you really want to understand, this is a great project to really drill down and understand, all of these different possibilities and really kind of follow this for a while. My question would be, what happens? You could kind of solve the immediate problem, at least for a test, to just say, fuck you, 9000. I'm going to see what happens if I supply the power for the LCD image myself. So I could just jump from 13v3 over to supply that straight to the filter and then see what happens. And either it would work because the problem is very kind of narrow, where there's a reason why it's not generating this 3v3 enable line, that's a very focal problem. Or it could be that that it's not generating that line because it is missing some input that it needs to get from the screen, or it's the wrong screen or something like that. So we could do that. Yeah, it doesn't see the screen. Yes. So I would guess that either it would work, or because the problem is actually very, very focal, or it's not generating that enable because it's missing more than just this one input that it's missing. It's missing a global input, and therefore it's not going to generate any of the data for display. So it really doesn't matter if you provided display power or not. It's not gonna generate data. All right, so let's see. LCD cable upside down. What are you talking about? If he's stupid enough to plug it in wrong on one end, he plugged it in wrong on both. No, that fucker plugged it wrong on both ends. No. No. That's a pain in my ass. LCD cable upside down? Really? The lid is closed on backlight. All right, I'm gonna keep following this line of logic for a while, but that's kind of where I would end up. That either this is a, what happens if you supply 3v3? My guess would be nothing, because it's not just a tiny little problem. It's a global problem that this thing is not going to produce anything for image, because it's like it doesn't know that there's a screen there. I think it's unlikely that this guy could create, if you think about the history of the device, from this short to ground problem, I think it's unlikely that he could create a really global failure, because the fuse, the filter, is going to blow up. I can see U9000 being damaged, but I can't really see that kind of following up the path at all. He plugged his dick into his own ass. He did it. Well, I don't have any clue how to. I mean, that means I have to take apart a lot of shit that I've never taken apart before. So that sounds like a big pain in the ass. All right. Is that even possible? Like, here's my question for Lewis. If you order a screen on Amazon, what do you have to do to install it? Like, how does it come? Like, doesn't it come with a new cable? I thought that MacBook screens came with cables. Like, that they were like sold as like assemblies, that they would come with a cable that you would just plug in. I don't think that he would have to plug in a cable, would he? What is this pad 5 stuff? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Spell that out. Double-sided sticky tape and connectors. All right. Good morning, Seven Oaks. Why would I check this SMC lid stuff? That doesn't make any sense either. Why would the computer think the lid is closed when the guy plugged the thing in wrong? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, that kind of stuff, think about history. Like, it doesn't make sense. This is not a water damaged board. This is not like, oh, it could be anything. No, the guy plugged something in wrong. So you can tell exactly what would have happened. So all of these, like, what I call wheel of fortune hypothesis, and a lot of people do this at practical board repair school, where they're like looking when they have to solve the one data recovery in the middle of the course, they do this sort of wheel of fortune thing. Could it be this line? Like, spin the line. Could it be, could it be PP1VRSR2? Like that will take forever. So you have to kind of have the history kind of point you somewhere. I think that it is strong that that this guy take U9000 from the 3115 and put it on the 3209. Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. What's the voltage that's supposed to be on that line? It's not short to ground, and it's like 0.477 diode mode reading, which sounds pretty reasonable. It has 0 volts, so I don't see how it would be worth it to change U9000. Convince me why that would give me a reason why that would make sense, because that doesn't make any sense. SMC lid is relevant to backlight, not image. Wix needs to stop following me. All right, I will listen to what you guys say and continue on this path of just looking at what kind of, how does the PCH get input? How does it know that there's a display? What is its input? All right, so we were following this line here, which is a plug into the PCH in a display area. So it's an input, and let's see where that goes. So it changes its name here. All right. Jessa and Lewis depend on Wix to fund their next investments. Investments? We have investments? All right. So this line says display port. All right. Where are we? We are on, we are on a chip called Cactus Ridge. Miscellaneous display port. All right, so that one that led us here is this guy. Let's find it. Is an output. So the output from whatever this cactus dude is, display port talks between screen and PCH. Makes sense. So this is an output which is going to the PCH. And what is its input? So let's find out. So there's a whole bunch of shit over here that is source. Let's look at the broader view. Ports, all right, display port, clocks, all right. So these all seem to be inputs to, let's see where these come from, that are going to be relevant to generating, copy, to generating that output. All right, where does that come from? The screen? Let's find out. All right, let's take off the 3. It doesn't like that. All right, sounds like this comes from the screen. That would be my guess. That this is actual screen information that is then getting conveyed to the PCH in the form of the line that led us here. All right. TBT is irrelevant. TBT is useless here. All right. Scroll past TBT. All right. Everything is TBT. This is all display port. All of this is display. All right, so our choice is to go back and look at PCH inputs that are not TBT. So let's see if we can find our way back to that, which might be hard. I don't remember I don't remember what led us here. Let's just see if we can follow our way back. Which one of these led us here? It was this guy. Let's find our way back. All right, so we're going back to PCH potential inputs. Copy, paste. All right, so this one that we followed as an input led us to a bunch of stuff that seemed to, I don't know what TBT means, but it seems to be coming maybe directly from the screen, I'm guessing. All right, so let's see what else there is that's an input. All right, so here's one called DPB, whatever that is. And let's see, are any of these, those are all outputs. So there's one that's an input. And then this, we're still in display. So this is an input as well. All right, so there's really, it seems like there's 2. So let's pick this guy. Where do you come from, mofo? All right. Test on external screen. Is the PCH enabled? All right, paste. Let's follow this a little bit. And this goes back to TBT sync. All right, so that kind of leads us back to that same general area. And I doubt it goes anywhere else. Nope. All right, let's go back. TBT is Thunderbolt. I believe you. The thing that I think is the strongest idea here is definitely that it's plugged in upside down. I believe that. But I don't want to have to take this whole thing out and figure out how to flip it around. But I absolutely agree that the strongest idea is, and I love this example because this is sort of like how you think. And I think a lot very similar to how Lewis thinks. And we both had a fun night once where we both took an IQ test of all things, which was all just pattern recognition. And I think it's kind of fun sometimes to watch someone who doesn't work in a given, kind of schema to see how they operate. So here, this is all just kind of problem solving and weighing variables and picking the path that kind of is statistically most likely. So in this case, we know exactly one thing that happened. This guy definitely plugged in a screen upside down, which we've proven, and that caused a short to ground on this PP3V3 LCD power image line. And we can figure out where that line came from, and we can see that there's there's not very much physical damage past that. So we know that in that circuit, if you thought about this as like your house, where you see a black outlet in the kitchen, and you kind of follow that back to the circuit breaker for the kitchen, it's unlikely that the reason why the kitchen lights don't come on when you replace the circuit breaker is because you have a problem in the dining room. That's really unrelated. Or that there's a problem with the entire electrical grid for your street. That's really unlikely as well. All right, so I think that definitely the likely case here is that the screen is plugged in on both sides wrong. That is the leading idea, because the guy plugged it in wrong in right here, and therefore his belief of how a cable, it's pretty clear when you really look at it which way it goes in. So his belief system is that it goes in the other way. And if the cable has a similar end on the other side, which I don't know if it does or not, it would make sense that he would do that on the other end as well, if he has to plug that cable in, which it sounds like he does. That's far more likely than the alternative, which is that that his short to ground traveled past U9000 without really affecting U9000, and continued up and burned up the PCH in a way that made it unable to deliver an enable signal. That's pretty unlikely, I think, but we'll see. All right, so do a diode measurement across the connector on the backlight or power ground pins. If you get nothing, the other end is likely upside down. All right. Let's do this. I think that at this point, it's probably worth it to take it apart, because now we all want to know, don't we? I do. And I don't want to stick around here for a super long time. So you guys can chat about your day, and we'll see what's going on with you guys. And I have to dig up some fucking screwdrivers, which is a pain in the ass. I don't like to take out MacBook boards. That's not really my job. Gotta try to take this out without fucking it up. All right, what do I need to do in order to retrace his steps here? Let's see, how is this going to be attached? Am I going to have to dig up this screen? Where does this cable go? Will I have to separate his adhesive? Because I'm not doing that, that's for sure. Am I going to have to cut a bezel? That I don't want to do. That might make it worth it to me. Yeah, if this is not an assembly, then that means he just bought this as a panel. That is probably more than I want to do. Let's see, how would he have, how does this come apart? I am gonna go look and see if we have, this needs no screwdriver. All right, tell me how to do it. Yay, it needs no screwdriver, great. The LCD cable, oh, okay. Checking cats. Take off the bezel. That sounds like screen breaky. You're gonna need to toss it on the bandsaw for a moment. Take off the bezel with heat. Tell me how to do it. Take off the bezel. Let's see. This just goes in the whole category of Lewis videos called fuck shit repair. All right. You're the rehabber of iPads. I don't touch iPads. Is this going to be like taking an iPad screen off? Am I going to need heat? Got all this plastic shit. So will he have put this on himself? I kind of feel like the best move for me right now is to go see if, there's no way, but is there any chance that there's an iPad Air screen here? Probably no. All right, do I use heat? Bezel off, try iFixit. I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Ooh, maybe my magic glass tool will work. They're totally glued on, Greg M. Do I need to separate this piece from the bottom in order to do that? Should I take these hinges apart? Let's see. No heat. I've noticed a lot of the plastic ones tend to puff up and cause focus issues. See, I can't stand it when you guys are talking about other things other than this repair. That's really hard to follow. All right, so should I try to get it off inside the black plastic or on the outside of the black plastic? So inside or outside? Inside the black plastic or outside the black plastic? Let's see. All right, the best move for Jessa is to fix the LCD at component level. Really? Ooh, I like that idea. Like, that's kind of a good idea. That would be kind of fun. Can't I just cut traces and rewire this shit? I think that sounds great. Heat and snapping off the bottom. Spatula. I have my magic glass tool, which I think is great for stuff. Heat, yes or no? I'm gonna go with yes. I don't see how you could get something off without heat. It has adhesive. You'll probably break the LCD the first time. LCD always breaks the first time. Probably will. But this guy's kind of screwed either way. Let me go check. I'm going to go check to see if we have a, I'm going to see if we have a, any air screen, just so that I could test that first. All right, this makes sense. All right, let's put a nice Pepe image up. Where is that Pepe? There we go. heat spatula and stab it in from the inside towards the outside. Eee, that sounds super dangerous. I'm gonna go hunt. I'm gonna go hunt for an Air LCD. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Because I don't have another Retina screen. Lewis, remember this was? Do you remember like yesterday where it was like, send me everything I need, including a screen, just for this exact reason. This is exactly why. Oh, jeez. All right, I need to go on a hunt. Let's see. Let's see. Be right back. time for another drink. Great. Fantastic. All right, we don't have an air screen. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. All right, let's go back to camera. All right. How do you get this screen off, Lewis? Tell me. Heat. Let's see. What's the safe temperature on the JBC? Let's use a wide nozzle. What's the safe temperature? Did Jessa pass out? No. Did Jessa fall asleep? No. Jessa went hunting for a air screen. All right, let's see. It was not be taken apart before and has not been broken, and the cable should not be plugged in the opposite way. What makes you say that? What do these things look like? Did this guy buy a full assembly? Does this look like he bought a full assembly or not? Alive! She's alive. Yeah, come on, stream, help me out. 190C. Wait, you were the one telling me, you were the one voting for not. All right. I think before I do that, I'm going to measure around a little bit on this connector. Let's see. Let's plug this sucker back in. Let's see. Screen not detected. That sounds pretty likely. Sounds pretty likely. I lost the piece of the MagSafe that makes it a MagSafe 2. There we go. Oh, look at that. It fixed itself! Hooray! Yes. Fixed itself! Look at that! Did the guy send his passcode? I'm gonna go with this was cable not plugged in all the way. Always makes sense to check things like that before going nuts. So yay, we're done. Solved. Perfect. All right, so let's go with looking magic. Let's go with the idea of have you tried turning it off and on kind of thing. So so this one seems to be, I know from plugging in the 2 or 3 times that I've plugged MacBook screens in that you can plug it in like a little bit this way and you'll get backlight but no image, or a little bit that way and you'll get image, no backlight. So the only thing I did was unplug the cable and plug it back in, pull the battery, and then hook it back up and tried to see if it works or not. And it does. So display is working, which makes us done. Hooray. Isn't that awesome? She turned the cable the right way and plugged it back in. Yes. I left for 10 seconds and it's fixed. Yes. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Yes, I'm a big fan of that. That is the #1 rule. In fact, I want to make some new iPad rehab shirts. Besides No Please Bro Solutions, I think have you tried turning it off and on again is a good one, especially for this repair. Alrighty. Let's see. It would be nice to go back to wanting more serviceable screens. Yes. All right. So that must be a relief. Yeah, because I don't want to have to, it clearly was never broken. Well, it was broken. I had to change the filter that was really fucked up and completely destroyed. That model, I believe, boots once, then powers off and boots again. Maybe. All right. Remove panel off laptop. Yeah, nope. Let's see. You did not hit the power button. Yeah, I did. No, I mean, before it had fan, spin, and chime, but no display. You can scroll back and see that. And, you know, it was just must not have been plugged in enough to be making contact. Either that, or there's something, you know, finicky about this model where it has to wake up, you know, kind of where you have to turn it on and then turn it off and turn it back on. I don't know. I don't work on MacBooks, so that could be a possibility as well. Is it possible some charring on pins in the connector that needed a wiggle to make connection? I don't think so, because there's no damage like at the connector. I doubt that. I assume they use the same type of connectors as on the PC side for panels. Kind of, yes, I think so. All fixed, yes. That model MacBook powers off, then shuts off, then powers back on. Okay, what's with the sunglasses? I was on a boat right before I came here. Missed the filter replacement. Yes, the filter replacement. You missed it because it was so fast, because I didn't even take the board out and I used the mini hot tweezers. And you can just take it off without using hot air, which is great, because if you are going to use hot air, then you have to protect, you know, the battery. You have to take the board out. You have to take the all the little plastic bits and shit, and you'd have to take the drive out. You'd have to do all that if you're going to put hot air on the board. Jessa, have you seen the BB show, The IT Crowd? No. That would be watching TV, which I definitely don't have time. It does. It turns on, then powers off, then turns back on. Okay. That sounds very reasonable. All right, but in any event, this one is really totally done. Like, it doesn't need anything else. I will put a piece of tape over this connector. And I'm glad that we decided to give that another shot before cranking that bezel off. All right. But yeah, you know, display is working, and this was really a lesson in how to figure out, if you don't know which way a connector's supposed to connect like that. If you forget, it's just like forgetting the orientation of a chip. It's okay to forget. You just need a strategy to figure it out rather than guess. What can you fix next? When you getting in the same model power brick voltage and amp meters that you use, the same model power brick voltage and amp meters you use. We use lots of different ones. The one that I use here right now, I actually don't like, but it's in color, so that's why I use it for YouTube. All right. Yes, time for some rest. I did kind of want to. I've got a couple of local data recoveries, but I don't think I want to start another thing because it's 3:24 in the morning and I gotta go be a mom tomorrow. Okay, so we are going to call this one done, and I think that's going to be it for stream, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for all of your help with suggestions, and I think it's fun to sometimes work on something that is really outside what you normally do, and I think it's fun to do a stream on it because it's fun to just see how different people think about different problems. So that is it for tonight.